Hello, everyone. Leslie McDonnell here. I just wanted to share some insights from what I anticipate we can expect from the real estate market here in Vancouver. I was fortunate enough to speak with the economist from the BC Real Estate Association last week, and I wanted to share parts of this report with you to give you an insight as to how the COVID pandemic has affected the real estate industry and what to anticipate in the future. I'm also going to touch base talking a little bit about the CMHC predictions. That's the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. They've predicted some large declines in pricing in Canada, and I just want to address that as well. So first, we'll start out here with the BCREA Economic Impact of COVID-19. I'm just going to jump ahead a little bit here on page 10, talking about the most immediately vulnerable BC industries. So because of the COVID, we've got, retail's been affected, the food service industry has been affected, we've got the entertainment, information and cultural, which flies into tourism there as well. Something to note, these industries don't have as large of an impact on real estate as some other industries might. So that impact isn't as strong as you would anticipate. Moving forward, looking at the age of the category of people that are affected the most by this pandemic. Looking at the numbers here, this green number, that's ages 15 to 24, and this dark blue, that's ages 25 to 29. So people under the age of 30 seem to be affected the greatest. And again, a category of people that don't have the same impact on this real estate industry as, say, other categories. That's not to say that they don't have an impact, but it's just not as greater as it could be. So that's something that's helping the real estate industry. It has been affected women more than men, is unfortunate, but it is the reality of the stats. Moving forward, looking at the predictions. So a lot of these predictions are based on looking at past recessions. We've got, what happened in 2008, 2009. The worst recession here was since 1982. And based on looking at the past to try and predict the future, we can see that they're actually forecasting us to bounce back quite quickly, almost to that 2017 levels. For GDP. A lot of different forecasts. Some are saying a U-shaped recovery. This is actually more like a Nike swoosh recovery. You've got the down and then the back up. It doesn't seem to be thinking that it's going to stick around too long and will be well on our way to recovery quickly. And so our country has done a phenomenal job of trying to flatten that recession curve, ensuring that people are still remaining employed. A lot of the relief that our federal government and provincial government has been providing to people to try and flatten that recession curve. Jumping ahead here. Looking at mortgage rates. So something else that our government has been doing is making sure that interest rates remain low as a means of stimulating and giving people incentive to use their money. And then if we look at the mortgage deferrals, Quebec and Alberta have deferred the most. Alberta arguably is one of the hardest hit provinces by this COVID pandemic because there's also been the addition of the oil crisis. BC is looking relatively pretty good in comparison to the other countries, not nearly as many deferrals. And looking at past recessions again, we can see that generally when there is a recession, there's a nice big bounce back, and there is an anticipation of that. Just going to jump ahead here. REGB sales, we can see that sort of when the pandemic hit, sales were quite low and we're starting to inch them back up more and more. And this has got to do with people's confidence. Measures are being put in place to make sure that homes are safe when people are seeing them. COVID waivers are being signed, gloves and masks are being worn, disinfecting of the home before and after showings is happening. And that's giving people more confidence to put their home on the market. If we look at the volume of sales as well, again, when I was talking about that Nike swoosh recovery, we're seeing it right here as well. Mid-April, we saw the lowest, and there's an anticipation for the volume of sales to keep going up. Now, this is about volume of sales, we're not regarding prices. And then looking at listings activity, the anticipation, we're going to see up. And then this is the Vancouver stats. Now looking at prices, there is an anticipation that we might still see a little bit of a drop into the summer months, and then starting to climb as we go. Because there is less people out in the market right now, if you are a buyer, I almost think now is a really great time. Because there is less competition. That doesn't mean there's no competition. We are still seeing lots of multiple offers happening in the market, especially for detached homes under $2 million. And entry-level homes tend to be that are priced well. If they're overpriced, then it's not happening. But I'm actually seeing a lot of slightly underpricing of listings in order to generate those multiple offers and create a frenzy and hope that people will overpay to win. Looking at the prices, the actual versus the predicted. So actual, we see here, there's still a little bit on the decline, an anticipation that that decline will go into sort of August. Come the fall market, we're going to see things on the rise. And by spring next year, almost back to pre-COVID levels is forecasted from, and again, this is the BC Real Estate Association, their economist. Looking at the home price index, so that's the price of a home, we can see here that the actual is actually sort of just following along the line of the predicted. And again, a slow, not a big change in prices anticipated in the future. And that's what I'm predicting as well. Not really seeing a huge spike in prices anytime soon, but definitely continued demand following through. Oops. The wrong button there. And then the last page here is just talking about housing, the sales following the start of recessions. So generally there is that bit of a spike. Now, I also mentioned I wanted to talk a little bit about the CMHC housing. So CMHC has predicted that there's going to be an 18%, as much as an 18% drop in prices. The one thing to keep in mind with that is it's talking about Canada as a whole, not specific BC, not specific Vancouver. Vancouver and Toronto are probably the two markets that are least affected by these because they have a greater demand. I think that, Alberta, maybe even Saskatchewan, smaller communities might see that bigger drop, but I don't know if we're really going to see it here in Vancouver. And because of this prediction, CMHC has announced that they are going to make the qualifying rate for insured mortgages higher. So if you have less than 20% down for your mortgage, then you need to get mortgage insurance, and that's provided by either CMHC, Genworth, or Canada Guarantee. Those are the three companies. CMHC has announced that they're making it harder to qualify. Genworth and Canada Guarantee do not agree with CMHC. They're not going to make any changes. It's an interpretation that they have greater belief in the recovery of the market. CMHC is being a little bit more conservative. And it's really, only time will tell what's going to happen. If you've got questions about your home or your situation and would like to discuss with me sort of what the value of your home is, or if you're looking to buy, what are good areas, by all means, I would love to talk with you my insights. I hope you found this helpful. And if you've got any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. It's Leslie McDonnell with RE/MAX Select Properties, and I hope you're having a great day.